What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another PME Volleyball video. In today's video, what we are going to be doing is creating the ultimate volleyball equipment and accessory tier list. As we all know, the game of volleyball is pretty simple. All you need is a volleyball net, a handful of players, and some volleyball shoes. And in some cases, you don't even need volleyball shoes if you're playing outdoors. Because of this, the great big wide world of volleyball equipment and accessories was born. There are a ton of different things you can wear and use in order to help improve your performance on the volleyball court. So today we are going to be taking some of those most popular items and putting them on a tier list. If you guys have been enjoying the content, the only thing I'll ever ask is if you hit that subscribe button for me. It helps me out a ton. And if you like what's going on in this channel, I guarantee you like what's going on PME Volleyball Shorts, where I post all my short form content. Maybe go check that out if you are interested. With that out of the way, before we start the video, comment down below what your favorite volleyball piece of equipment or accessory is. And with that being said, let's hop straight into it. We have a pretty simple tier list layout for today. We have the S tier, that is the best of the best in terms of volleyball equipment and accessories. Then we have the A tier, we have the C tier, which is right in the middle. Then we have the D tier. And last but definitely least, we have the ankle socks tier. That tier is reserved for the volleyball equipment and accessories that honestly is just as good as trash, you know, because ankle socks are the worst. In fact, I would put ankle socks in the ankle socks tier, but I didn't even include them on this tier list. And full disclosure, before we start this tier list, I just want to say this video is not sponsored, all right? There are a couple of products on this tier list that I have decided to work with in the past, and I'm going to honestly be putting them on the tier list in the category that I think they belong in. None of these companies are paying me to say what I'm about to say. Full disclosure. First up, we have a pair of white knee pads. I'm gonna be honest, I have not been a knee pads wearer for a very long time. The last time I wore knee pads, I was like in middle school, all right? It's just not been a part of my game for a minute now. I am definitely not one to hate on players that wear knee pads, but me personally, as a setter who doesn't play a whole lot of defense in the back row, I have never seen a good use for them. And honestly, I felt at times they have impacted my vertical jump, you know, because they're on my knees, and when my knees bend, I just feel like there's something going on there. So me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of knee pads, but in general, I do see the use of them. Except for those volleyball players who wear them around their shins. I still don't get that. If you could explain that to me, that would be great. I'm just not as big of a fan as white knee pads as I am black knee pads. I think there is a difference, and I think white knee pads tend to stain more easily, and that's a little gross, especially when they get like sweat stains. So I'm gonna be putting the white knee pads up in the A tier. I think that's where they belong. Before we hop any further into today's video, I would like to take a chance to thank the sponsor of today's video, which just so happens to be my friends over at Way of Wade. Way of Wade has just dropped their brand new Shadow 6 V2s. After testing these shoes out myself, I can say without a doubt that these things are top tier. They're super comfortable, super lightweight, and honestly, one of my favorite parts about them is that they're super budget friendly, coming in at a price at around $119. Honestly, in the volleyball shoe market today, I'd say that's quite a steal, especially when the volleyball shoes look like that. I mean, hey, these things are incredible. These things are phenomenal when it comes to trying to make quick movements out on the volleyball court. They have super great traction that allows you to make all those quick movements that you want to be able to make without slipping or sliding on any surface you might be playing volleyball on. They also have great cushioning, which means when you jump and you land safer, and honestly, overall, they're just a super comfortable volleyball shoe to play the game in. I recently picked up 2 pairs of the Wade Shadow 6 V2s for myself, and I got them in these colorways, and what I did was I mismatched them on the court, and I'll say they looked absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, guys, I think this might be the best looking shoe in the game of volleyball right now. If you're looking for your next volleyball shoe, I highly recommend you check out Way of Wade. There is a link in the description of this video that'll get you a discount off your very own pair of Shadow 6 V2s. Thanks again to my friends over at Way of Wade for sponsoring today's video, and with that out of the way, let's hop straight back into it. Up next, we have the Jump Lead knee brace, and let me just say, I think that Jump Lead does a great job of making super colorful and fun volleyball equipment. So that definitely gets a big check for me. There was a time in my life when I was wearing Jump Lead knee braces in particular, and I really like the design. They're super comfortable, and they come with a patella strap as well. All around, it's just a very good product. If you are looking for a good knee brace, I would recommend Jump Lead. They're one of the rare companies that does a great job of making a good product that is super colorful and fun and like modern and not just like plain and boring, you know? So I'm gonna put Jump Lead knee braces also in the A tier. I am currently not wearing them because I feel like I do not need them for my knees, but if you are somebody who needs that extra support, that would be the recommended knee brace from me in particular. Up next, we have the classic foam roller. And let me just say, without a doubt, before I even go on to talk about it, that is an easy S tier volleyball piece of equipment right there. There are so many things, so many uses for a foam roller that volleyball players can use, whether it's rolling out your legs before matches, after matches, rolling out your back. I just highly recommend that for like $7 to $8 on Amazon, you go on their website and you buy a foam roller. I'm telling you, it'll change your life and it'll help loosen up your muscles before and after playing volleyball. It is such a good investment to make. I highly recommend you pick up a foam roller. Okay, up next, we have like this court shoe grip spray that I've been seeing. I think there are a couple of different companies out there that make something like this. I just chose a generic brand for the photo, but like anything that like claims to like give your shoes extra grip. And honestly, me personally, I'm not a big fan of these types of products. I don't see the point. I don't think it's super necessary as a volleyball product. Honestly, a little hack, if you're playing on a gym that has slippery floors or maybe they're dusty or something, you can honestly just spit on your hands and then rub that on the shoe, and that usually helps the rubber gain more traction. Or honestly, what I also found is you can use hand sanitizer. All right, hand sanitizer does the same exact thing that I think these court shoe spray products does. So I'm not really that big of a fan of it. I think I'm just gonna put this one straight in the ankle socks tier. It's just not super necessary as far as a volleyball product goes, and it's just not something you should be spending your money on, in my personal opinion. Up next, we have the elastic rubber resistance bands. Okay, these things are also great. I wouldn't quite say they're as impactful as a foam roller, but there is a lot of value in using these things, especially before volleyball matches, to warm up your legs and your shoulders in particular. That's what I've used them for. It's honestly a great product to just have in your volleyball bag. I've definitely used these things in the past, and there are an assortment of different exercises that you can use to warm up before volleyball game. And the great thing about these is the variety they offer. There's a variety of different leg and shoulder warm-ups that you can use these things for, so I think they're pretty good overall. If I had to choose between a foam roller, which we've already ranked, and the resistance bands, I'd definitely choose the foam roller just because I think it adds more value, but I'm definitely a fan of the resistance bands. I'm gonna put them right in the middle in the C tier. Up next, we have what is probably the most popular shorts brand in the entire game of volleyball, Slunks. From a design standpoint, I do think Slunks do a very good job. You can get custom-made Slunks, and I see a lot of club volleyball teams rocking them these days. Also, the ones that they sell in their storefront are also very good. If you don't know about Slunks, basically they have like this interior lining in the inside of them as well, and it's pretty comfortable to play volleyball in. I have played a fair share of volleyball in Slunks, and as far as a volleyball short goes, I think they do a very good job. The only thing I'll say about Slunks is they are a tad bit expensive, but besides that, they're a very good product, and they look great, especially. So I'm gonna be putting Slunks in the A tier as well. I'm not quite an S tier slunker, simply because when it comes to volleyball attire in particular, you can wear a normal pair of shorts, and those compared to Slunks, like there's no real advantage to wearing Slunks over just normal shorts. So that's why they gotta go in the A tier for me, but I definitely am a fan of the brand and the way they feel playing volleyball. Up next, we have the second of the Jump Leap products that I decided to include on this tier list, and that is the Jump Leap compression volleyball socks. Honestly, compression socks in general, I found to be way better to play volleyball in than just your normal standard socks that you'll, get at the store or whatever, wherever you buy your socks. The Jump Leap ones in particular are pretty thick, and they're super comfortable, and comfort and volleyball go very well together. When you're playing volleyball comfortably, especially when your equipment is comfortable for you, it's just a good thing, Plus, they do the same thing that they do with their braces. They got a bunch of cool different designs, so you can find one that matches your volleyball shoes. I am going to be putting the volleyball Jump Leap socks in the S tier. That is because I have found that ever since I started playing with a pair of compression socks in the game of volleyball, I will not go back to playing volleyball in normal socks. I just like the feel of the compression socks. I think they offer me in particular more advantages than normal socks, and they're without a doubt an S tier product in my opinion. Up next, it is the infamous Victory insoles, and this is a company like Jump Leap that I've worked with in the past, but I can say from my own personal experience wearing Victory insoles for the past 2 years, I am a big fan. For me personally, I just think they're way more supportive than those flimsy piece of foam insoles that you'll find in most, Nike or other brand shoes that you might play volleyball in. Those things just offer, if you've ever seen them before or pulled them out of your shoes, they literally offer no support. It's just a flimsy piece of foam home. I found for me personally, especially when I got to college, I was jumping a whole lot. It just wasn't doing a whole lot in terms of supporting my feet when I'm playing the game of volleyball. I found that for me personally, playing volleyball in carbon fiber insoles, in this case the Victory ones, really did help me feel better out there playing volleyball. So for me personally, they will always have a special place in my heart because they really did help me tremendously, because it was the one change I made going from my freshman to sophomore year in college that really helped me. I felt like a lot. So for me, they are an S tier volleyball product, even considering the price point, because honestly, the thing is, you'll buy them once and they will outlast many pairs of volleyball shoes that you buy. So I think, in my personal opinion, they are worth it. Up next, we have AirPods or headphones or any other sort of music listening device, maybe a speaker that you will use to listen up to your pump up jams before a volleyball match. For me personally, I felt the effects of volleyball being a mental game. So having a device that would allow me to get in the zone in my own way, in this case being the music that I like to listen to, was super important. And I think that if you have the opportunity to warm up with some of your favorite music, it'll be what you need in order to get yourself locked in and ready to go. These are an easy A tier item for your boy. Up next, we have pre-wrap. If you've never heard of pre-wrap, it's basically just this flimsy piece of foam wrap that you can use for an assortment of different things, whether it's wrapping your knees, creating some patella straps, or you can use it as a headband. In my case, my sophomore year in college, I used it for both a headband and my knees. I think it's a great alternative than wearing a full brace, you know? I think those patella straps do a lot that you can just put on your knees, and they're super easy to use. My only problem with it is you're gonna need a lot of pre-wrap, especially if you're in volleyball season, to keep yourself going. So that's the one thing, is you kind of need like a couple of rolls of it, and it's not super expensive, but it does add up after a while. So I'm gonna put pre-wrap in the C tier in particular. I think it's a good volleyball accessory, but it's not necessarily the top, mainly because it is disposable and it really only has one use before you got to get rid of it and use some more for your next volleyball match or practice or whatever it might be. Up next, we have water bottles, and it might seem crazy, but I do view a water bottle as a volleyball accessory. And yes, that is an easy S tier item for your boy. You know, drinking water is maybe the most important thing you can do during a volleyball match to keep yourself out there, because you need to be hydrated. You need to be hydrated to perform at your best, and what better way to do it than with a water bottle full of water, you know? I don't think I need to say much more. Water bottles are an easy S tier item just across the board. I feel like it would be very hard to argue against that. Okay, so up next we have like this standard pharmacy knee brace. I've seen these things. They're usually like white and blue. Honestly, I haven't necessarily worn this particular one. I have no idea what the name of it is, but I've seen a lot of volleyball players use it. But for me personally, I have used some cheaper pharmacy brand knee braces, and I'm just not a big fan of them. I don't think they're built very well, and I think knee braces are supposed to be at a certain price point for a reason, because you want them to be sturdily built, and I just don't think these pharmacy knee braces are necessarily that. Also, the ones that might be a little bit more expensive that kind of have this look, and again, I have no idea what the brand is, that's kind of the problem. You know, I just think the branding of them themselves are just kind of boring. Like, I wouldn't want to be out there on the volleyball court wearing that in particular, because I just think it looks dumb. You know, it's just not a good looking knee brace. I'm gonna put it in the D tier, just because if I was in need of a knee brace, I would probably want to go with a jump lead or something that is not only built better, but looks better as well. And then up next, we have the sturdy knee brace. This is usually the one that volleyball players wear after a major injury or a surgery or something like that. And I think for that reason, it is a great thing to wear. But if you are not injured or you think you need a knee brace, you should not be getting something that is like this heavy of a piece of equipment, because you do not want to gain dependence on that type of item. I think they're really good for volleyball players that need them, but besides that, I don't think there's a big use for them. But I have seen a decent amount of volleyball players wear them, and for me personally, I haven't worn this item because I haven't, thank goodness, been through a major injury in the game of volleyball. So I'm gonna put this straight up in the C tier. I see the value of it for volleyball players that really need it, but for everybody else, it's just not that useful of an item, not something that I would recommend everybody needs, you know? Okay, next Next up, we have arm sleeves. And I am not the biggest advocate of needing arm sleeves unless you are a libero. I think libero is the only position that will really use these things. And besides that, there's just no real need to be using arm sleeves out there in volleyball. I think the majority of volleyball players do not use these for a reason. And maybe there are a select few that seem to think that these do well for them, but for the majority of volleyball players, I don't see this as an item that you necessarily need. I'm just gonna put it in the D tier. Again, I just don't think it's a volleyball product that I would recommend every volleyball player need or it be a must-have. And then we have the infamous pajama pants. We volleyball players love to show up in tournaments and sometimes at practices. I've even seen some volleyball players in the middle of like tournaments wear pajama pants out on the court. It's just a staple of the volleyball community is the red and black pajama pants. Me personally, I have not owned a pair of red and black ones that I played volleyball in, but I do own those pajama pants. It's just one of those, you know, like fan favorite items that doesn't actually necessarily do anything for you, but I have seen way too many volleyball players pull up in a pair of pajama pants. And I think, guys, I'm gonna be a little bit of a hater. I'm gonna be a little bit of a hater of the pajama pants. I don't see the value in them, so I'm gonna be putting them in the D tier. Okay, we have a massage gun up next. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not the biggest fan of massage guns either. Me personally, I just think massage guns are a tad too expensive and you need to buy a good one in order for it to be worth it at all. So I'm just not the biggest fan of massage guns. I think you can do the same things pretty much with a foam roller and then another item on this list, and you can save yourself a lot of money in the process. I think they're a tad bit overrated, not quite belonging in the ankle socks tier, but I will stick the massage gun in the D tier. Up next, we have the lacrosse ball, and you might be wondering to yourself, PME volleyball, why is there a lacrosse ball on the volleyball equipment and accessory tier list? And that is because this magical little ball is basically a mini foam roller. It can help you pinpoint those exact spots on your body that need some pressure release, and because it's so small but super hard, it does a great job massaging those certain muscles that might need to be loosened up a little bit. I in particular love rubbing a lacrosse ball on the bottom of my feet, and before volleyball matches what I'll do is like rub each foot out for like a minute, and I just feel so much better after doing so. If you haven't tried it, you need to go out and try it before you have an opinion of it, but it seriously works. It seriously loosens up everything, and I think it's really beneficial for all volleyball players out there. And for the price point, like, it's super cheap to just go out and buy a lacrosse ball or even find one, you know? I think a lacrosse ball is an easy A tier product. I think foam rollers are still superior, but if you're looking for just a little bit more intense of a massage experience, don't go buy a massage gun, just get yourself a lacrosse ball instead. I'm serious, these things work really well. Up next, we have the volleyball backpack. Volleyball backpacks are, you know, just a staple of the volleyball community. You need something to put your volleyball in, your volleyball shoes, and your snacks and your drinks and everything else that you own. You need a volleyball backpack for. You can't just go carrying that stuff around. That is an easy S tier product for me. Every volleyball player has its backpack. Those things hold memories, hopefully good ones for you. But yeah, volleyball backpack, easy S tier item. Not much else that needs to be said. Kind of like the water bottle, it's a non-negotiable. Okay, up next we have hydration packets, okay? I think these things are great to get that extra hydration boost that you might need, because usually these things are packed with electrolytes that are super important for volleyball players, especially when you're playing in tournaments all day. They're just really good to get that extra boost that water isn't quite able to do on its own. For me personally, I drink a lot of Liquid IV. That's my go-to, but I know there are a ton of different brands out there. I think Liquid IV tastes really good in particular. It is a little bit expensive though. It is a little bit expensive to get those hydration packets, and it might be cheaper just to go in the Gatorade or the Powerade route, but I do like the convenience of having a hydration packet to just throw in my water bottle and then get back out there on the court playing. I will be putting the hydration packets, I think they are an A tier volleyball accessory item. And last but not least, we have the black knee pads, okay? And if I share a lot of similar thoughts with the functionality that I said about the white knee pads, but I do think the black knee pads are better for a couple of different reasons. The main main one being that they are able to hide all of the gunk that you might be picking up on a dusty floor when you're diving. And honestly, that's the main reason why I do think black knee pads are superior than white ones. I just think they look better in general too. So if you were to wear a pair of knee pads, I would highly recommend going the black route instead of the white ones. I just think they are better served for most volleyball players out there, and they're a staple of the volleyball community. Black knee pads and volleyball go hand in hand together. So I'm gonna throw the black knee pads up in the S tier, even though I don't wear any knee pads myself. If I were to, I would definitely 100% without a doubt wear black knee pads. So that is going to do it for the tier list. So let's review our tier list real quick. In the S tier, we have the foam roller, the compression socks, the Victory insoles, a water bottle, the volleyball backpack, and the black knee pads. In the A tier, we have the lacrosse ball, the white knee pads, the jump lean knee brace, Slunks shorts, any sort of AirPod or headphone that you might use to listen to music before a volleyball match, and then we have the hydration packets. In the C tier, we have the resistance bands, the pre-wrap, and the hardcore knee braces. In the D tier, we have the pharmacy braces, the arm sleeves, the pajama pants, and the massage guns. And in the ankle socks tier, we have the court shoe spray. That is going to do it for today's video. Comment down below if you would change anything, or if I missed anything. Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will catch you guys in the next PME volleyball video. Peace. Make sure to go check out the Wade Shadow 6 V2s. There's a link in the description of this video that'll get you a discount, and honestly, they're my new favorite volleyball shoe. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.